To talk more about all of this, I'm joined now by Andy Mok. He's a senior research fellow at the Center for China and Globalization. Andy, first fully in-person event in the COVID era, none of this hybrid or, virtual events. We're looking at something really special here, and this is how Xinhua described it. They say the deputy director of the World Trade Organization says the event is an encouraging step in China's efforts to promote international trade and cross-border investment. It's just another example of China saying we're open for business. Give us an idea of just how important this is.
Well, thanks for having me, Mike. And I think that absolutely is correct, that this marks an important milestone in China's increasing integration with the world, and that this provides truly historic opportunities for businesses all around the world, as well as, I think, very exciting opportunities for consumers in China to enjoy some of the best the world has to offer. Clearly, business diplomacy requires face-to-face interactions, so I think having a fully in-person event is incredibly valuable.
What's the potential impact on China's economy, do you think?
Well, I think the economy is twofold, Mike. The impact on China's economy is twofold. From a quantitative perspective, of course, as more businesses invest, sell in China, that's good for the Chinese economy. That's good for the top line and the bottom line for those businesses. But from a qualitative perspective, Chinese consumers get to enjoy everything from gelato to those that can afford it, Lamborghinis, as we saw that Italy this time is the guest country of honor. So I would not discount that as well. We focus a lot on the numbers, and they are important. But in terms of having a more fulfilling life, to appreciate just the diversity of this world, having a greater choice of consumer products for people in China, I think is very, very valuable.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stick in the gelato category. Would like the Lamborghini, but I think it's above my pay grade. Let's talk about what a big deal this is, extending it out, because you've got thousands of brands, 65 different countries and regions involved in all of this. We've seen a lot of countries struggling to really emerge from the pandemic economically. Now, the International Monetary Fund says economic growth will stay below 3% this year. It's going to hover around that for the next 5 years globally. When we're looking at the global economic growth, of course, China looking at a much bigger growth margin this year. Can this give a boost to the global economy as well, do you think?
I think this absolutely will be a boost to the global economy, Mike. A few months ago, Ray Dalio, the legendary investor and founder of Bridgewater Associates, the world's largest hedge fund, spoke at our think tank. And the way he described it was that there's a lot of challenges the world is facing economically. But he, at the time, said he saw China as an island of stability. And I think this is playing out, as we can see from monetary policy to overall economic growth, that China certainly is an island of stability and opportunity. And it's important to point out here too, Mike, that it's not just looking at these consumer products, but it's the infrastructure and the government support behind that that I think provides the opportunities for sustainable economic opportunity in China. Everything from visa policy to tax policy, as we heard earlier in the piece that Hainan is doing, is emblematic of the, I think, very comprehensive approach that the Chinese government takes to ensure that it's not just prosperity for today, but prosperity for the longer term as well.
And it's so interesting hearing this concept of turning foreign exhibitors into foreign investors. And as you said, these face-to-face conversations can lead to that. What do you see coming out of this in that regard?
Well, certainly when we look at the location of Hainan, it is very close to important markets, important suppliers in Southeast Asia, and with the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. Again, we can see that the infrastructure level of these ties are advancing, and then that will allow greater sales, greater appreciation of products from this part of the world. And then overall globally, I think this is then, again, accelerating the shift, the economic center of gravity to this part of the world, and politics will follow.
It's fascinating to watch. Andy Mok, thanks so much for your insights. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.